This is Builder Greg coming to you again from Waco, Texas. This is another little restoration project here of an old friend of mine who had trouble with this little Stevens 240. It never was functioning right for a long time. Firing pin issues, been worked on a couple times and really never fixed. It's a Stevens 240 over and under 410. Most of the time you see these in a 22 on the top, a 410 on the bottom. Look at the gauge on the thickness of the barrels. They're pretty hefty. Anyway, I ran across this. He wanted me to fix it up for him and get it firing so he can hand it down to his oldest son. His father had bought this for him when he was about 8 years old out of a pawn shop for $5. It's pretty well beat up. It's been worked on before, really never fixed. Firing pin issues, misfire, you name it, it had it going on. The only good thing about it is the lockup on the breech face was real nice, so it was worth going after, and we wasn't trying to change the patina of the gun any, as you can tell, but the wood was ugly. I fixed up the wood some, had the wrong front end on it, had the midnight is what plastic for back in the day, what they called this. These guns were made from 1942 to 1945. As you can see, this one has a 22 410 midnight or plastic forend on it, so it had plastic forend and a wood buttstock on it, which was definitely wrong. Back in the day, this should have had a wooden form, and I'm assuming just for the fit must have got pulled off, because when it goes over center, depending on the adjustment of these, can be easily pulled off and probably got lost. Who knows what happened to it. That's new wood, new walnut, made it look like old walnut, courtesy of Gun Garage. And of course it did not look like this. It had to be fitted. I think I accomplished my goal, setting out to make them look the same. You can see that it looks pretty darn good. Like I said, it wasn't to totally restore the gun, it was to get it functioning, pass it along, and leave the patina alone. Barrels are in pretty good shape all the way. Heavy duty barrels. Gun was produced by Stevens in Chicopee Falls, Massachusetts. As you can see, there are some scarring along the way that you just can't get out when the scouts that bad, but you can still make it look pretty good. The main issues this gun had was somebody had got in here and tried to make this work, and filed on the hammer here and filed on the hammer here to try to get more firing pin protrusion on the bottom barrel, which I don't know why they did that. And the firing pins themselves, the bodies were two different lengths, and somebody had worked on those, and the tips of the firing pins weren't hemispherical. They had been ground on and made to a point, so I just made a couple new firing pins for it, case hardened them, same body length, made them right, and then hand fitted them to the gun itself. There's an example of one of my firing pins. That's, obviously I didn't use that one, it's not in the gun. That was just for trial fit. The thing to remember about these guns is the mainsprings, they're right in here, that control the hammer forward movement. If adjusted too far forward, it will crush the return springs for the firing pins, and that's no good. That was part of the problem with this gun. Not only was the protrusion wrong, but somebody had the mainsprings adjusted way out of whack. So basically, when you tilted the gun forward, the firing pins would fall out of the standing breech. Tilted back, they would fall back in. Therefore, the gun would misfire erratically. Misfire when it's pointed down, it'd fire when it's pointed up, and everything in between. You got on these old guns like this, you have to have what we call firing pin rebound. Let's see if I can get a good picture of that. You can see them protruding. and then sucking back in, protruding, sucking back in. So if you have your mainspring adjusted too far, for too much forward travel motion, not just pushing on it, but when it's released, it's going to crush the springs, the firing pin springs, and they simply ride on the shoulder here. So you can see where too much forward movement on the hammers is going to crush the firing pin springs. And that's partly what was going on with this gun, besides misfitted firing pins and such. Another important thing about this gun is their safety notches, and if you'll notice, safety notch, safety notch. That's the safety positions on these guns. Hammer will not go forward if dropped. Will not go forward if accidentally dropped. So unloading and unloading a live round, that's what you would do. They would be in the safety notch. Keep accidentally firing. If by chance you was to pull the trigger, there's simply not enough energy or movement on the hammers to get any protrusion whatsoever, which is exactly the adjustment you're looking for. And this, as you can hear that click, that is the safety notch. And like I said, they're not going anywhere within the safety notch, and that is the safety on these old guns. The gun does work right now. So you can see the protrusion and the retraction. As a matter of fact, you can actually see the excessive wear on the lower extractor, on the lower barrel extractor. That groove is grooved out a little bit too much, but it doesn't hurt the function of it right now. That's from the firing pin just flopping out all these years and basically never being addressed. Well, now he's got new firing pins, he's got new springs. Obviously the gun has been finished with the patina left alone, so he can give it to his oldest son. His oldest son's real excited about it. It's like I said, this is a legacy thing, and I get these requests quite often to help these folks out like this that's had trouble in the past from other people trying to fix them. I just wanted to show you some of the things that can be done, give you a few pointers on the firing pin issues with these old guns, and actually what's the proper adjustment on these guns. Safety notch, safety notch. Not enough energy, not enough energy. That is the safety on those guns. Let me see if I can put this thing together real quick. I probably can't do it one-handed, so give me just a second. Okay, there we go, all assembled. We'll back up some here so you can see it. Overall, it turned out pretty nice. It looks like a nice old gun now, and instead of being hacked all up and hacked around. The proper fit on the forearm, for those of you who don't know, is when it goes over, it needs to go over center and snap. Let's see if I can get this for you. And it needs to snap into place. That is the proper fit on the forearm for that kind of locking system on the forearm. Overall, I think that turned out kind of nice. He's thrilled. He's going to be able to give it to his son in the way it should have looked back in the day in 1942. So he's real excited to pass it on to his oldest son, which is probably in his 40s now, so it's not one of these things. It was shot up when he was younger, and now he wants to pass it down. And I guess that's how us guys are. We pass down our old stuff, especially our old guns, and I think that's a good thing. It keeps the sport, keeps the enthusiast alive in most of us. So I just wanted to bring you in and show you the Stevens 240, which was later made by Savage. Similar gun, but the Stevens was before the Savage, if I'm not mistaken. So it's one of those deals. And if it didn't have the patina on it, that would have been case colored. The receiver would have been case colored with black hammers. And of course that was a painted trigger guard. So not an expensive gun back in the day, and still not an expensive gun, even if it was mint. The gun's probably only worth about $500 or so, give or take. So not an expensive gun. It's just one of those deals that, you know, you got something, it was yours, your dad bought it for you, and you're gonna give it to your son, and hopefully he's gonna pass it down to his sons. That's all I have for you today. I do have some other videos to do. Yes, I know I've been telling you, but a lot of things will be getting in the way. I do apologize for that. So those of you out there who keep watching my videos and sending me questions, I do appreciate it. If there's anything I can do to help you out or answer any questions, just feel free to let me know. Again, thanks for watching.